So welcome. What we got? We got Chad, Suzanne, Melanie, Stacy, Stephanie, Summer. Awesome. Chad. So look, we're going to get started with our little Grow Global commercial. John, we're recording it. Excellent. So why Grow Global? Look, Grow Global, we want you as real estate agents to be able to grow your business, grow your network, grow your life. We are agents from all walks of life, all different experience levels, from all different brokerages. That's why we call it Grow Global, because we're looking to help you sell more houses in less time so you can have more fun, so you can live a better life, right? Who wants to be the richest person in the graveyard? Not me. I want to enjoy life while we're doing it, and that's what we're doing here. So real quick, we have some free resources. That is my favorite word. If you guys know me, it is free. And here we go right here. We've got a Facebook page. Make sure you jump up on there. We're in 300 members. Over here's a little invite button. You can invite people to join it. Also, we put our announcements and things in there. For example, when we're doing our masterminds, we do them on Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And of course, we record everything. Look, we know as a real estate agent, you're going to get busy at times, but here's what we know. If you're here live, you will get more out of it because you can ask questions. Plus, you can add to the conversation. We learn from you, you learn from us. So we have that. We also have an Instagram page, of course, that's kept up that has all of our different things. And then what we do is we have topics. We have topics that we do each Monday, and a couple of times a year, we have our open forum. So today we have something really special for you because the open forum allows you to ask questions. If you're wondering if that means me, the answer is yes. That means you. We want you to ask a question. Now, you can do it a couple of different ways. If you're too shy to unmute and talk on here, you can type it into the chat. And our experts are going to answer the questions for you. What kind of experts do we have? Well, we've got Stephanie Gilezan, who started her real estate business way back in the 1900s. She was 5 years old when she started real estate. And she has, I believe, somewhere nearing $1 billion in listings. I don't know if anybody heard that, but $1 billion, not a million, $1 billion in listings. So she's somebody you want to listen to. And then also today, we've got Robb Campbell on here. Robb Campbell, for those of you who don't know, he and his wife, actually, the wife's on here too. We knew who run that business, Kim Campbell. Kim and Robb Campbell, they were RE/MAX franchise holders, and they had the #1 RE/MAX brokerage in the world. I believe it was 7 out of 8 years, I think. Is that right, Rob? Something like that. Big time ballers. They each coach hundreds and even thousands of agents on how to grow their business. And they're going to be a featured speakers on here today. If we get lucky, we might even get Stacey Lambright to throw her 2 cents in here every now and then as the #2 residential agent in the state of Ohio for a brokerage of almost 2,000 agents, absolutely crushing it. And the top 100 agents of her brokerage with 90,000 agents. So she will jump in here with that also. And with that, we want to get started. And so if anybody out there is brave enough to get us started, I do have some questions that I've got here pre-planned if nobody's brave enough to unmute and speak out. But you can raise your little hand down at the bottom by Jonathan, you all right? You got a cold, man? I see you down there. You okay? All right. Somebody poke you in the eye? All right, I wanted to make sure you weren't sad about our topic today. I wanted to make sure we're happy.
Well, it's it's a little.
All right, man. What's the hat say, brother? Sweet Home Carolina? Is that what that says?
Yeah.
All right, I like it. I like it. So we're going to get started with that. You can raise your hand down at the bottom and use the thing, and I'll call on you. Or you can do something funny in the camera, and I'll call on you too with that. Or you can type in the chat box when we get going. So with that, we're going to get started here today. And I don't see anything in the chat yet or anybody raising their hand. So we've got some good questions. And I'm going to start with one for our panelists here that's kind of on everybody's minds right now, because I don't know if all of you know it or not, but 2023 and 2024, the fact that you are here, all of you should give yourselves a round of applause and pat yourselves on the back. It was the worst real estate years. Hang on here. It's going to be positive. It sounds negative at first, but this is a positive. It was the worst real estate years since 1995. 30 years it's been since you've had real estate years like that. And for those of you who survived 2008, 2009, I know what you're saying in your head. You're going, nah, 08 and 09 was worse. No, it wasn't. 23 and 24 had less sales than any year going all the way back to 1995. So check it out. You're a survivor. Congratulations, you're here and you're still here. But 2025 is not going to be like that because we're going to answer some questions. And here's one we're going to start with for our panelists. How do I navigate conversations around high interest rates and affordability concerns, right? Because look, here's what happened. We had artificially low rates. 21, 22, spoiled the hell out of people, right? And then all of a sudden they jumped. It was the highest interest rate spike, fastest ever in real estate history. And it happened, and it caught a lot of people off guard, including real estate agents. So when people say this, Rob and Stephanie, when they say, but I'm going to wait for the rates to come down. I want to see the rates lower. It's too affordable. What are we going to do? How do we answer that? By the way, we're recording this, so you guys can just pay attention, and then you can go back and listen to it and copy their script. So go for it. Rob or Stephanie, take it away.
Rob, you want to go first? You want me?
Doesn't matter. I'll go ahead and speak on it. But I remember back when I got started in real estate in the 90s, the interest rates were 8 and 9%. And I know Stephanie remembers those days. That was the norm. And it kills me when agents are saying, oh my gosh, rates are so high. But the problem is perspective. A lot of the real estate agents have gotten in the business in the last, X number of years. They only know low rates. They don't know what you can do with the higher interest rate environment or a normal interest rate environment. I always thought that 8% is normal, right? So a lot of it is about perspective, but we are where we are. Agents were brainwashed or used to, or a company knew about the lower interest rates. Their clients knew about the lower interest rates. So now they're having to figure out how to navigate it. But if you put it into perspective, you can navigate any interest rate market. It's only going to take time. Now, if we are at these interest rates for another 2 or 3 years, it'll all level out and normalize. But how do you navigate it until then? That's the big question, is talking to your clients and telling them about it's all about the deal itself. You can refinance later if you want to lower it down. So there's a lot of different ways to negotiate that. And that's where Stephanie is the expert at negotiating. So Stephanie, you can take it from there.
Real quick, Rob, I want to mention before Stephanie jumps in is everybody today, you can do it right now if you want, should take their phone and they should Google interest rates and get themselves a meme that they save on their phone. Because here's the thing, you can tell people things, but when you can show it to them, say, hey, take a look at this, and you save it in your favorites on your phone, they go, look at this. And it's a meme that shows interest rates of what they've been since the 1950s. And they're like, oh my gosh, because seeing is believing. Go ahead, Steph.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rob, for that. And so here's one of the things that I did on Friday. I'm a developer and I also own a home building company. I know I do a ton of commercial real estate, but I love to develop and I love to build houses in these developments. So on Friday, I called my bank and called my residential lender who wants every referral I could possibly give him. And I said, George, tell me on $1 million sale, purchase, loan amount, how much is it going to cost me to get it to a 5% interest rate? He told me $19,370. So you all, I put that right here. On Saturday, I was so busy. I went over to my development in Southern Indiana and I had 2 appointments. While I was there, I used that tool to my advantage, okay? Because if rate was the issue, I'll buy it down to 5%.
Mm-hmm.
Because no other builder was going to be offering that to them, right? So how do you make yourself stand out? And you all might be saying, but you're the builder, you have the ability to do that. But here's the thing. A lot of sellers don't think like this. It's our job to bring these ideas up. But I've also done this on the buyer side too. When somebody loves something a lot, look, marry the house, marry the property, don't marry the rate. You hear everybody say that, and that is so true. Call that lender, find out what does it really take. A $1 million loan amount to get it all the way down to a 5%. Jumbo was at 6.87 on Friday. To get it all the way down to a 5% interest rate was only a little over 19 grand. Big whoop, right?
Right.
Big whoop. So think of how to be creative, and that's how, you can get things going. And I think it does go back to the fact, because when I got into real estate, it was 1999, and my first deal, it was 8.5% was the interest rate. The very first deal I ever did. And actually the house I bought in 1999, my interest rate was 8.5%. So, you know, rates, look, they're not bad. They're not bad at all. But if somebody is worried about it, then take it off the table. Make it work. Figure it out and just have that conversation with them and split the difference. Have the seller and the buyer split the difference. You know, not all, but some homes are sitting now. Haven't you noticed it?
That's right.
Some are sitting now. So have the seller say, buy this home and we'll give you X rate, or we'll offer this toward buying down your rate. You know, we've talked about that before too, but you talk about getting a home moved. There you go.
Well, and if many of the homes out there are overpriced anyway, just because the consumer thinks they're worth more than they are in different market conditions. And so if you're talking to a home seller that's having a hard time moving their home because they're overpriced, why not offer a buy down, like Stephanie said? Instead of marking the price down X number to $20,000, offer to buy the rate down or give them an option to do that.
And somebody just texted me, y'all put these comments on this Zoom, seriously, or these questions on this Zoom, but good comment. I sold 2 houses on Saturday. I did not take any discount. Yes, I'm buying the rate down. One is a $1,050,000 house. The other one is right at $1 million. That's a good day for a builder, you guys.
Yes.
Great day for a builder. I got big profit in those. And then I just got a text message this morning because a third person that I met on Saturday is ready to sign with me tonight. So that'll be 3 houses because I was creative and I called George on Friday. And George is going to freaking love me because he's going to get all 3 of these deals because that's part of the deal. I'm buying it down through my lender, right? Because that's how I know how much it costs. And then George is going to also sponsor some good stuff for me because we leverage our vendors.
I think it's important for us to start normalizing for the millennials who are buying now, right? We need to start normalizing the conversation of what is a starter home. And if you're on here and you're looking to do some sales, the biggest opportunity for you right now is millennials that are waiting too long to buy their first house because they're trying to buy a home because in their head they think, I'm going to live in this 10 to 15 years. My must-haves list is way too big for them. That you need to have them write down their must-haves, their 10 must-haves, and then prioritize them. And then you let them know, look, you're going to get 2 to 3 of these on your first house. You're going to get 2 to 3 things. What are 2 to 3 things that you must have? And then these others you're going to get on your second home. And then give them the stats. 82% of first-time home buyers only live in that house 3 to 8 years. And most of them, it's closer to 3 to 5 years. And then they sell it and they upgrade. But if they don't get in the game, they're never going to get a chance to be what's called a move-up buyer. And you just got to let them know it's called a starter home for a reason. It is not your dream home. If you wait to buy your dream home, the market is going to outpace you. It's going to continue. You'll be chasing the market for your entire life and you'll never get in. And guess what? Guess how much interest you're paying, the interest rate you're paying when you rent. The interest rate's 100% when you rent.
That's right.
It's 100% interest, right? And so here's the thing. If you're paying a 7% interest rate, but the home is appreciating at 5%, you're really only paying 2% in interest. If you think about it, when you work it out, you're getting money back when you sell that house. And sit down with them and take I'll just use 200,000 because I'm not good at math without something in front of me, a $200,000 house at 5% a year in appreciation. How much is that? That's $10,000 a year. If your payment is $2,000 a month, that's $24,000 for the year you paid out in payments. But you're getting 10 grand of that back. That's $14,000. Divide that by 12. It's a $1,200 a month payment. I guarantee that's more than you're paying in rent right now. And you don't even have a house. And that kind of stuff, when you talk to them, we've got to start talking to our millennials. The average age of the first-time homebuyer has moved from 28 to 36. Does anybody here think that's acceptable? 36 years old before you get your first house? You're toast. You will never, ever get a home that you get into that you're able to pay off and have equity to pass on to your offspring, right? I saw a TV show last night that said the biggest way to immortality is creating generational wealth to pass on to your kids, your grandkids, and their kids. That's how you live forever. You'll be around. And everybody can do it. by buying their home. And here's the great thing about people that are underserved populations and people like that who haven't been taught wealth building by their parents. We need to be the educators and teach that. You got to get on social media and do your hits and talk to them. We've got to get these kids, I call them kids, I'm almost 60. We got to get these kids back into the high 20s for the first time age for average first time home buyer. Being 36 years old is way too old, and it's up to us to educate them. Starter home, get in, play the game. We'll ride it in 3 years. Look, it's not the neighborhood you want. It's not the neighborhood where you're going to have your kids go to school, because we're going to get you in. We're going to make it hit. You're either going to keep it as an investment property and rent it out and it carries itself, or we're going to take the equity and move you up. That's what we're going to do. And you got to show them the math and sit down with them. And in doing that, I think all of us here can squeeze out another 10, 12 sales this year just from the millennials that are out there waiting. It is a pool of buyers everybody here should be tapping into. And the thing about it is you can feel good about it because they are damaging themselves financially waiting until their mid-30s to buy. That is crazy. They'll never see financial freedom and paid off home and generational wealth by doing that. So sorry about that. Actually, I feel very passionate about this. Stacey,
Jim,
did you want to add anything?
Yeah, well, Jim, you were talking about, like financial institutions, banks. They teach everybody and drill into them, start investing early, start saving early. The earlier you invest, the more money you'll have at retirement. Well, you're right on the money. If we can teach and educate the people that if they buy their first home, and it doesn't have to be their dream home, it could be a starter home that starts the getting you out of paying the money to the landlord and building their wealth. Start building your wealth, build your equity, cash it out, get into something bigger down the road. That's the way I started. I was in an apartment for 6 months when I first got married, way back the first time. And then my first house was a little bitty crappy brick ranch, old as crap with the little screws, fuses. Okay, I mean crap stuff. But I got it, and I was only in it for 3 years. Then I got a better house, and then a better house. So you can leverage that to stage in your wealth going forward, and that's a great. But we need to do a better job at educating the potential first time home buyers.
That's great. Stacey, did you want to unmute and say what you said in there in that chat? Because that's a good, those are good numbers.
Yeah, you were right on with what I was going to do. I already done the math. A lot of our people that are looking at buying houses, they're still renting single families, and that's the average single family rent. I mean, that's $111,000 swing. But it's mindset. Getting their friends 5 years ago bought on a 3% interest rate this $400,000 house, and that's just not there anymore. But that doesn't mean that they can't be there in a couple of years.
Read
That's
that
right.
for our YouTube people that are going to be watching this. Go ahead and read what you put in the chat, because the chat doesn't show up on YouTube.
It just says our average rent in SEBA in Columbus is $2,000 a month for a single family. In 3 years, that's $72,000 in rent that you would have paid. If they reset their expectations and just looked at $100,000 less, let's say $250 versus $350, and with that 5% appreciation in 3 years, that's $39,000 and some change, and it's $111,000 swing for just 3 years of being in a starter home and then moving up.
Showing the kids the young people that math, it'll sink into them, and we can get them in and just let them know, look, 3 years, I'm going to get you out of this thing. Maybe 5 years if something's wrong with the market 3 years from now, but 3 to 5 years, that's it. Can you tough that out? You're worried about school system. You don't even have a kid yet. You don't have a kid. Once you do have a kid, it's still 5 years out before they start school. So it's great stuff on that. Everybody, today is open forum. So if you jumped on a little bit late, we're asking questions to Stephanie Gilezan, Robb Campbell, and we're giving you anything you want to ask. Let's see. Tatiana said, Jim, going off that, what's that conversation look like? Hopefully you got that question answered. I know I talked fast on that. You can rewind that and watch that. So let's go with another question until somebody raises their hand. By the way, you can go down to the bottom, you click the raised hand, or you can put it in the chat and we will do your questions right here. So I have a question for you guys that I think is big on the minds of agents, and that's this. What do you see? You guys have been doing it for decades and decades and decades. What are the biggest trends shaping the future of real estate, and how can I stay ahead of it? Because we know if you want to be the best business people in the world are able to spot trends and see what's coming and then move ahead of them. Wayne Gretzky said this: why was I such a great hockey player? It wasn't because I skated to where the puck was. I skated to where the puck was going to go. And that's why he was awesome. He was able to beat that. So Robb and Stephanie, what are the biggest trends you guys see from your experience shaping the future of real estate? and how can I stay ahead?
Stephanie, you want to take that one?
Okay. Well, for me, doing so much in commercial, but I think both, on the whole residential side of things, I, I don't know about you all, but there's so much relocation happening in my market with my residential developments that I'm doing. People want to see, they want a full-blown advantage. We've been having virtual tours for years, but they want to see all the nook and crannies, right? And so they want to feel like they are there in the space. And so, not a virtual tour so much anymore as, the floor plans, laying out the furniture in them, the space planning, how all of that works, that's what people want. And then when you are representing new construction, if anybody's on the call, you can't just show a blueprint any longer. You kind of got to build that 3D modeling in order to give people the vision. And, it's those listings that are selling first. An agent asked me, Stephanie, why are you all selling and I'm not? And I looked at what she was advertising, and all she had was flat black and white exteriors, whereas we had full-blown renderings that looked as if it was real. I mean, it looked like the real deal. I had these done through AI, hired them out through Fiverr, but it looked like the real deal. And that's why, we need to do a better job at showing the public exactly what something is going to look like. So that's all I can really speak to as it relates to, residential there.
Well, and you just touched on AI technology. I mean, that's I need to learn more about that because it's changing really fast. And then the Google technology and doing Google My Business and things like that, a lot of agents are behind the curve on that and doing their reviews and things. Leveraging technology going forward is going to be key in real estate, and we got to stay ahead of that fast.
Suzanne, you have a question, then we'll go to Stacy. Go ahead, or you have a comment. Go ahead, Suzanne.
I have a comment on what Stephanie just said. Speaking of the millennials and the younger people, I couldn't agree more because these people have grown up. This age group has grown up being able to go online and picture whatever they're trying to do. They're not, and they don't have to. Ultimately, some people I know in their 30s have gone and actually physically looked at homes, but they won't go near it. People feel now that if there's not a picture, an illustration, some feeling that there's something wrong with the place, and they won't even give it a second look or consideration. So I couldn't agree more. Having the ability for virtual tours for anything gives you the ability to be one step ahead of everyone else. So to the comment.
I like it, Suzanne. Stacy, you had a comment on that.
So with residential buyers, I'm seeing two things. Last 5 years, the existing market was the leader of the pack. Like new builds here really couldn't touch the existing market, but we've seen a transition in about the last year and a half where now the better buy for a first time and second time buyer is the new build sector. Like when you just see what they're being drawn to, and two, I think it's the first time we're seeing two generations after the same product. Baby boomers and millennials are both wanting smaller, but very high quality, high finishings, less maintenance. They want to be trained, even because our baby boomers are obviously they're empty nesters, but our millennials are working from home. So they want to be able to travel. They want to be able, so that's what the trend we're seeing is smaller, not smaller in sales price, but just square. They want higher amenities, higher quality. And new builds right now are definitely outweighing in our market for existing for a better buy.
I think the trend that I've noticed that's been coming for a while, and I'm here for it, is the multi-generational living. We're seeing kids, millennials moving in with either parents or the grandparents living there. The grandparents they're able together, they're able to buy a more expensive home. They're doing what's called an ADU. I didn't know it was called this till the other day. I actually did an Instagram on it. What do you call those? A reel. ADU, accessory dwelling unit. I bet you Stephanie Gilezan's building a bunch of those right now. We used to call them a mother-in-law suite. That was the shed you put out on the back of your property, right? That was away. I'm just kidding. Mother-in-laws, if you're on here, sorry. No, they're there, but they're able to provide. Maybe they're not working anymore, right? But they're able to provide childcare. Now you've got, who would you want to trust your child more than grandma, right? I mean, how awesome is that? And while you're working, so that helps bring income in. Maybe there's a fixed income coming in that you can use to help qualify for a larger home in a better neighborhood. And we're seeing that happen. The ADUs are something to help that we as the agents have to educate what's going on out there to the millennials, where we can go. Stacy and I call it flipping over rocks to find deals, right? You can help educate someone to say, hey, maybe I should be in the market. And if you're the person providing them with the information, they're more than likely going to get a chance. They're going to choose you. So I like it. Definitely, you are building some ADUs with ADUs.
Jim,
Well,
I saw that the other day. I saw a whole community where the builder was building a single family home with a 2-car garage, but attached on the other side was a single car garage and a separate unit that had a door in between, but it had its own separate entrance and everything. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, there's a lot of those going on when you can fit it, right? On the lots that you can fit it on. I want to touch on what Stacy said about the millennials and the baby boomers wanting that same product because they want the maintenance-free living. You're 100% right, Stacy. I have an entire development of garden homes where we do the maintenance of the landscape, the mowing, all of that stuff. You would think, based on that, that would be more the retiree market and so forth. No, I am 50-50. I've got people in there that are professionals that don't care about mowing grass ever in their life. I've got pilots that are gone a lot for their job. And I've got people that work from home, so they go places. They're like Jim and Stephanie Lambright. They're always going off on vacation all the time, right? Because they can work from anywhere. So so that's something to not rule out when you're working with 30 somethings or 20 somethings or 40 somethings, that they too might want to be in that garden home community for maintenance free living.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. So there's a saying out there, and Stacy and I went to a Tom Ferry seminar. We got invited there because of Stacy's production in the top 100 agents in the brokerage. And one of the things he said was this: there's an investment out there right now that is a multi-million dollar investment that every single one of you has right now. Like, you should take whatever money you have and you should plunk it into this investment. Who here wants to hear what it is? This is from Tom Ferry. He coaches like the top agents in the world. Who wants to hear it? So Laura from Chicago wants to hear it. Janice wants to hear it. Suzanne wants to hear it. You guys want to hear it? Yeah. Here's what he said. Get ready to write this down. Here we go. John Herholtz says, I do. We're married now, John. Congrats. I do. So it's this. It's your database. You should be investing all the money you have right now in marketing to your database. Well, what do you mean marketing to my database? I mean, you should be sending weekly newsletters to them. You should be doing voicemail drops to them. If you don't know what a voicemail drop is, you need to learn what it is. A voicemail drop, that's where you make one 30-second recording. Hey, just want to remind everybody to spring ahead tomorrow so you're not late to church or to brunch or wherever it is that you're going tomorrow morning, right? And you make one audio and it drops automatically into their voicemail. It never even rings their phone. It's very cool technology. Everybody should be doing that. Everybody should have a mass texting service. You should be sending out a text minimum once a month to people with some type of, happy Valentine's Day or happy first day of spring, things like that. So it's your face, your voice. It's a video you make and it shows up on their phone. Boom. You make one, it sends to everybody. Everybody should be investing in talking to their sphere on their Facebook. The Facebook algorithm, if you use Facebook Messenger to talk to your people with a video, the Facebook algorithm will stick them in your newsfeed and you in their newsfeed. And you should, of course, be posting 3 times a day, right? That is absolutely what you should be doing, okay? And I want everybody to be on top of that. On your database, you need to be in your database. And with that, I've got a question for our panelists, and that's this. How do I generate consistent, high-quality leads in a shifting market? Lead solves everything, right? When you have enough leads, it fixes everything. It fixes your sales. It fixes the sales of team members and friends that you have. It allows you to scale. It gives you free time. It makes more money. So I'll go with that with Rob and with Stephanie. What would be your number one way right now to generate high-quality leads in a shifting market?
Well, you just said it is database. That's the number one thing. agents can do, but a lot of agents who don't have a database, what do you do? Or if you're just growing your database, what do you do? Well, I was a Brian Buffini coach back in the day, and he was really big on database management and how to grow your database, how to sort your database, just what Jim was talking about. But there's tons of ways to add to your database as you're growing it. Now, obviously, you need to be in all the other types of tools and resources, which is the AI, the Google My Business, the getting phone calls from Google, the different ways to open houses, all kinds of ways to get business. I mean, Stacy's killing it in the relocation business from her company. So there's lots of ways to get those leads, but if you can focus on your database and grow it. But what about getting in Facebook, like Jim was talking about, getting in your local community that you're like, let's say you're in a certain county and you're in the county Facebook groups to know what's going on in the county, and you go visit the county board meeting and you see what's going on in the board meeting, and you comment on the county Facebook group about what happened in the board meeting last night and what they're bringing up. How about the zoning board meeting? You're commenting in the county about, hey, there's a new development coming up. Well, everybody that comments on your posts about what's coming up in the county, they might want to be on your database, right? So you take all those new people that commented that you don't know, but they're in the county that you're in, and you plug them into your database and you start working those people. You start working them on Facebook, you move them into your database, but adding to your database is a key role to do it. But there's tons of other ways to get new leads, grow your business. I know Stephanie probably has some creative ones.
Well, absolutely. And Rob, you mentioned some of them, but in a shifting market, I mean, look, there's so many ways to get leads. I mean, I throughout the years have been so creative at this, but debt that's coming due. Everything is public record, you all. Everything is public record. We just have to be willing to do the work, right? And so that's been my whole entire mantra of my entire career. As long as you're willing to do the work, you will be as wealthy as you want to be. And so how I built my career was dialing for dollars. What does that mean? Calling. I'm a cold caller. I love cold calling. Except I call it warm calling because there's a need and there's a reason why I'm calling. Maybe they've got a loan coming due, and I have found this through online land records, or maybe I'm subscribing to a service because I don't want to do online land records anymore because there's people you can pay to just have it sent into your box, right? Maybe I'm calling people that have less pendants being filed. They're in foreclosure, right? The beginning stages of foreclosure. Maybe I'm calling code enforcement violators, right? I mean, I landed one of my biggest clients because she had over 408 properties. And she had, I forget, 200 and some odd citations because her renters weren't taking care of her properties. And so she kept getting citations because the properties were in her name. And still to this day, you can call her up. Her name's Judith Rosenberg, 502-228-0101, and ask her how I showed up at her house with 400 plus listing contracts. And I got her because I called and told her that she was a slumlord, right? So calling people, digging information, picking up, any ways to do it. I mean, I've landed on so many things that you might think weren't glamorous, led me to some of the most glamorous deals I've ever done. Okay. That's what I stumbled upon. I found pots of gold doing things that people would never think about. Okay. And, right now, if you look up residential, for me, I don't do anything that's below 2 million. And commercial, I don't do anything that's, I don't know, I think 5 million. But, I do large deals because I've earned the right to do large deals. But that's my target market. And I get those deals because I do my research, I pick up the phone, and I make phone calls. And I teach other agents how to do that. And my son just iconed at eXp Commercial, which there's only one way to do that, make over 500,000 in GCI in a 12-month period. And that's how I taught him to do it. make phone calls.
Love it. Love it. Tony Gisto. Tony, did I say the last name right? You got your hand raised. Go ahead and unmute. And what kind of doggy is that? That's
Close.
a cute little doggy you
It's
got
close
there.
enough. I'll accept it. It's actually
All right.
Justo. But
Justo,
what I
got
was
it.
going to say is, anytime there's something where the general public, and this is pivoting right off of Stephanie, where it is smelling like cat pee or just looking like an abomination, it's a hoarder house. Those are some of the best deals I've ever done. I'm more of an investor, so I'm always looking to buy, and then I rehab the house and either keep it as a rental or will sell it to a new end buyer.
Love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Love it. Love it.
And when you're driving around, and that's probably what Tony was saying too, when you're driving around and you see something, I write it down. I write it down, or I take a picture of it and I look it up, or I'll stop and knock on the door and just ask the question, hey, what's going on with this property? Because you can stumble upon some really, really good opportunities. And that's what you have to be willing to do. You can't sit on your hands.
Looking for the blue tarps, right?
Yeah, the blue tarps, the gutter falling off the front of the house,
Mowed
the boarded up
yards.
window.
Yeah, right. Hey, Jim, you know what else I've noticed in real estate agents trends right now is multi-state licenses. I've seen a lot of agents doing multi-state business now, and that's starting to grow. Not only are they growing their area, back in my day, I would pretty much stay in Cobb County when I started, and maybe I'd go over to Cherokee County or Paulding if I really wanted to. But now you're seeing people go all over metro-wide of where they're living and multi-state business. And I know we have quite a few agents that are multi-state licenses. They're doing really well. I know Tracy's killing it in multi-state.
Yep, there are brokers out there that you can actually get one cap and one set of fees and one brokerage to cover you could be licensed in 4 states.
Yeah.
You just have to join the MLS in each state, but there's only one cap and one set of fees to cover you. There are some brokerages that are set up to do that.
That's why we're seeing a lot coming on board for that. That's for sure.
That's great stuff.
Tracy, tell me a little bit about your multi-state. How's that going for you?
Tracy Boss Moves Wiggins, Georgia and Tennessee. Loving it, she says.
Good afternoon. Yes, I absolutely love it. I started out in Tennessee, then of course got my license in Georgia because I always wanted to move to Atlanta, and made that move once my kids got of age, and I'm an empty nester, and it's been amazing. I just love how just even yesterday, well, Saturday, I did, today is Monday. I can't even keep up. So anyway, Saturday, I did a homebuyer seminar, Mardi Gras style. And y'all, we had about, and it's very hard to get people to come to those actual in-person homebuyers classes. We had about 25 people to come. And so it's so exciting. And it was done in Tennessee. But then I did a Galentine's in Georgia. So I'm working both markets. What I absolutely love about what EXP had forced me to do, and I chose EXP because of that. I can, I'm losing my train of thought. I pay only in Tennessee for everything. I don't pay for an association in Georgia. I don't pay for the MLS in Georgia. I only pay for Georgia's super lock system, which is totally different from Century Lock here in Tennessee. So I'm in Tennessee right now. Family's here. So I love being able to come home and visit family, my grandbaby, and get all that in, and then go right on back to Georgia and do what I need to do there. Building a team, expanding in both states too. But EXP really affords anyone who wants to be multi-state licensed, this is the way to go. And yeah, it's been a true blessing to only pay for Supra, and get the best of everything, the best brokers. I don't have to pay another broker fee or anything. So perfect.
I love it. Great. And I see Kim Manson. Kim, you're doing Florida and Illinois. Now, those states aren't even bordering each other.
Right.
You probably weren't prepared for me to call on you, but if you have a chance, unmute.
Yeah.
How does that work? Like, that's 1,000 miles away from each other. How do you do that?
Well, obviously I have to fly back and forth, but I do have feet on the ground in both states. So it's not like I can just jump in the car and drive over the border. But, my original business for 30 years has been in the Chicago area, and I'm just newer to Florida in the past couple of years. So I am, definitely busier there, but starting to get really moving in Florida now.
Love it. Stephanie Gilezan, you do business from 2,500 miles away, not even in the country. Had best year ever. Spent 11 weeks down in the Caribbean. How'd you pull that off?
It's definitely working the sphere, and I just put a note in the chat. because I think the original question was just where are we getting leads and how are we pulling leads? And we've been focused on sphere. In a shifting market, there is no doubt that there is uncertainty in your sphere. But for every person that asks a question, there's 10 thinking of different questions or the same question. So you have to be the expert. And it doesn't mean you have to be in business for 27, 28 years. You just have to be your butt needs to be, if you are not out showing houses, you need to be on webinars, you need to be at the mastermind, you need to be at a title company with your agents, and then do videos on it. Right now, one of the things that I think we're getting ready to see, and Stephanie might agree with this, is, in the last couple of years, people that really paid astronomical over market value, if they have a crisis happen in their family, with divorce, medical issue or something, I think we personally are starting to see some short sales come back into play. So that message to your sphere is, if I owe too much, or if I bought at the height, and now I can't sell, what are my options? So just be your local expert, which would be some of the stuff we talked about, the rate options, getting into your first home and selling. What do I do if I overpaid and I bought my house last year and now I need to sell? I mean, there's options out there. So just answer the questions. And what'll happen is you'll start becoming like, when your friends and family hear about something talking about real estate, because they see and know that you're in the market and you know what you're talking about, your name's going to start rolling out of their mouth a lot more. So just be present, be accurate as to what's going on now, do your videos, and just be the local expert.
People to do business with you, because this is going to be a question, is how do you stand out in your local marketplace? The question we're going to ask our panelists, but they have to know you, they have to like you, and they trust you. Social media is such an effective way of getting them to know you, like you, and trust you. First of all, they have to know you. You have to have 3 things about you that's you. You have to find your tribe, to use the buzzwords of the day, right? And how do you do that? You attract people to you, because people want to do business with people that they know and they like. So, for example, Stacey and I are very big in animal rescue and things like that. And I have this crazy pet wild raccoon that comes up. People know me as the raccoon realtor, and I just go with it. It gets so much play. That's fine. People know it. Some people like it because of that, right? They like that. And then the trust is built through doing exactly what Stacey said. Doing videos, short little hit videos. They got to be short little hit videos that talk about things that are happening. So something happened today. Tell the story. We have this great person that we're partnered with on this, Nikita Wilson. She's awesome at telling the story. She tells the story about what happened on that deal and the challenges that were faced and how they overcome it. And that's how you build the trust. So they get to know you because of 3 things about you they want to know, right? Find out what that is. Don't be fake about it. If you're into gardening, awesome. You be the gardening realtor and go all in on it. If you're a person who's into certain sports team, right? Be in on the sports. You're going to attract those people to you. And 3 of them, you got to have at least 3. Find out, who are you, right? And if you don't know, ask 10 of the people that are closest to you. Like, tell me 3 things about me that make me stick out. And they'll tell you. And then you go with that. Okay. And then the people that are going to like you are the people that are very similar to you. And so you put those things out there on social media, and then you intersperse that with educational short hit videos about things that are happening. And that's how they get to trust you. You're the trusted person. Know, like, and trust. It doesn't matter that they know 16 other realtors, because that's what NAR says people know. In residential real estate, the average person knows 16 realtors by first name. Right? Their Pizza Hut delivery driver is a realtor. Their person they go to church with is the realtor. The pastor's wife's cousin's best friend is a realtor, right? It's everybody has a real estate license, but you got to stick out in there. So I'll ask Rob and Stephanie, how would you stick out in the real? How do you stand out in a crowded marketplace, right? Real estate agents, we're a commodity. How do we stick out? I'll go with Rob and Stephanie on that. What else would you like to add to that?
Stephanie, you want to start that one?
Oh my goodness. It's how do I stick out? I'm probably the opposite of most agents. I'm very different than probably what you all want me to answer on this call, because I'm not trying to grow my residential business. I'm trying to walk away from that business or refer that business off. But how I have grown my business throughout, like Jim said, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. Okay. I'm the expert, and people know I know what I'm talking about. All right. There's they know from the time they meet me or from what they hear about me that I know exactly what I'm talking about. One of the couples this weekend that bought a house, I said, do you have a realtor? And they said, well, not really. I said, well, do you know any realtors? Because the last thing I'm ever going to do is take anything away from a realtor. I'm a builder and a developer, but I'm a real estate broker first. Okay. And they said, well, we know about probably 18, 19, or 20 of them. And it was what Rob just said, that they go to church, they've got this, they got one of the cousins. And I said, well, do you want to go and consult with one of them before you enter into this? They said, no, because whoever we choose, the rest of them are going to get upset. And none of them know anything about this. They had that was their thought. All 19, 18, 20, whatever that was what resonated with me the most, is when they said, and none of them know anything about this. I thought, wow, that's what they thought about, all of those people. So with me, my business has always been repeat and referral, because, and it always starts out with, Stephanie, Thomas told me to call you because he said, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. So that's, I guess, you know, and same in commercial world, because you know. So that's what you want to get out to your audience. That's what you want your sphere to understand, and how you market to your audience, and how you speak to your audience, and how you put out to your social media. That's important. You know, you seeing them seeing the personal side of you is also important, so they get to know who you are. Like Jim, and I, you know, I always want to comment, Jim, do you have your rabies shots up to date?
I've been bit several times, no rabies.
Watching your videos though, I love it, you know.
Right.
But that's what humanizes us. So those are all great things, but yeah, it's us knowing. You know, I ran into an agent yesterday, and it was almost like I walked away from that experience with the feeling of, gosh, that is exactly why we have a bad name. She knew nothing about what she was in. I happened to be going past an open house, so I swung in because, one, I wanted to be nosy. Two, I'm always recruiting, right? Three, I hadn't met her ever. So but I knew who she was. So I wanted to swing in. And I was very disappointed. She didn't know what she was in. She knew nothing about the neighborhood. She couldn't tell me anything, really anything. And I thought, you know what? Everybody that walked in that house today, all she did was waste her time. She was there from 2 to 5, and that was 3 hours of a waste of her time, because there's no possible way anybody left that experience and know, like, and trust her. So
I love it. Tony says that he said, I make myself exclusive, that I only work with select clients. It makes them appreciate that they are one of the few, but I get tons of calls and will go referral route even more. Think about that. When you know your worth, like Tony's talking about on there, people value you more. And so you don't play the commodities game. Look, I'm exclusive to select clients. I love those words, Tony. That's great.
Well,
Rob, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, one of the things that I've noticed throughout the years of coaching agents is I would help them find niches in their business, things that they already like doing, and not necessarily real estate related niches. Yes, do that. I mean, you can niche investor properties and commercial properties and land or condos or whatever, but I'm talking about personal niches of things you do anyway in your daily life. Do you go to the gym? You can niche that in your personal life. You already like doing that. You're around other people that like doing that, and makes you more authentic. Do you go to church? Do you like to golf? Do you like to ride race cars? Whatever you like doing in your daily life. Do you like to go hiking? Well, how about niching that into your real estate world? And I tell this example a lot because it kind of brings it home. But I had somebody that liked to rescue pit bulls, and she was trying to figure out how to niche that in the real estate world. And I said, well, you're in a bunch of Facebook groups of pit bull rescues, aren't you? Oh yeah, they all know me. We go help the dogs, right? I'm going, all right, well, she likes one of she dealt with condos downtown. So I said, all right, here's what you need to do. You're going to do a YouTube video, the top 5 condos in the downtown area that allow pit bulls, and just post it on the group. You're not selling anything. You're just giving value, right? Top 5 homeowners insurance companies that are pit bull friendly. Top 5 dog parks you walk your pit bull. So you're now giving invaluable information in those groups and then building that relationship back. So that's what I've seen is agents leveraging things they're already doing in their business anyway, and then are doing in their life anyway that they like doing. They're around people that like doing that and leveraging in their real estate business.
Social media, if you don't know what to do to get in there for your niche, stick kids in the pictures and videos with you, or stick animals, especially dogs, right? There's a lot of dog.
Or a flamethrower.
Or a flamethrower. Flamethrower is one of my most popular social media hits so far. And it did chase a few people away, but only the haters. Everyone else stuck around. So it did get me banned on TikTok for 30 days. So be careful if you put a flamethrower in your videos. So we'll go
Get
from
on
there.
the terroristic threatening list.
The driveway had to be sealed 3 times that year. It probably needed about 6. But flamethrowers catch asphalt on fire, for the record, if anybody goes to try. Tracy Boss Moves Wiggins says, I had an agent that wore these pink braids and was tattooed up. I thought she would have the hardest time getting clients, but her tribe looks just like her. Now, a week ago, we had a gentleman on here who went all in on the tribe that he was looking for, and he became the #1 social media real estate agent ranked in Louisville and the #6 in the entire state of Kentucky. And I looked at his page. He's got 39,000 followers on his Instagram page. And here's the thing. He goes, I repel a lot of people, but those people weren't going to do business with me anyways. But the people I attracted are so loyal to me and send me business like crazy. Even when they're not doing business with me, he goes, because they connected with me on such a base level, they send me business from all over the place, and it rocketed his business. And I'll tell you, I went to his page, I followed him and stuff like that. He's a little crazy on there. It's awesome, but he stands out from other agents. And I loved what he taught us. And it reinforced the idea of like, hey, just lean into this raccoon thing that I've got going on. She gets hundreds of thousands of views when I post this raccoon. Oh, well, but people know me, right? I go into the grocery store and go, hey, you're that guy with that pet wild raccoon. That's how I know it's being effective when that happens. That's awesome. That's called Sheehan's Wall, by the way, if anybody wants to know what that's called, when you break Sheehan's Wall. Jonathan Plummer said there is an agent in Arizona that crushes, and he is tatted up. Call Tattoo is his handle. So there you go. You can lean into anything. There's so many people out there, so many human beings. You don't need, if you want to do 50 transactions a year, you don't need 1,000 people to like you. You need 50 people to love you. And if they love you, anybody that's standing around there within earshot that mentions they need to buy or sell a house, they're going to grab that person and say, you got to meet my friend so-and-so. Would it be okay if I introduce the 2 of you on a 3-way text? If you get 50 people to do that, you will do 50 to 100 transactions a year. 50 people to love you. 1,000 people can know you, but who loves you? Like, who just loves that you're great? So I love that. Anybody a question? We're wrapping up. We're getting close to the end. Stacy Lambright says, just be authentic. Don't try to be, people can smell fake from a mile away. Be authentic. Yes, you're going to chase some people away. I'm sorry. But the people that you attract will be super loyal to you and help you grow your business. Tracy, Boss Move Wiggins. Speaking of authentic, let's get you on here, Tracy.
Yes, thank you so much. I always say be you because everyone else is taken. So that's something that we want to add to it as well. But I'd like to hear from Stacy. What's your verbiage? Because those of us that do work multiple states, we do have to have some feet on the ground, have to have someone to open doors. And of course, with the new NAR rules, a lot of people are afraid to really do that because you got this BBA that's supposed to be exclusive to you. And so if someone else opens the door, what happens? And so I was taught by my broker to just add their name to the BBA. Stacy, I want to hear your verbiage. What do you say on yours in particular?
We are very point blank. I know each state is a little different, but we have a number 7s where you just write in any added verbiage. We simply just name our showing agents. I have 2 that I go to all the time. It's the only 2 that I use.
Okay.
So it's more of an acknowledgement. It's not, or we're not asking for their acknowledgement. It's more of a just, this is our, these are our showing agents, and we just enter their names. We also add them to agency though, if they do show a house for us.
Agents that are on here, this is worth the price of admission right here. Here's what you want to do today. Go out and build yourself a showing tribe. It's a group of like-minded agents. Follow your state laws, by the way, because there's a bunch of different states in there. Make sure you follow your state laws. But find agents here in Ohio, as long as you're with the same brokerage, they can go and show a property for you as long as the BBA has their name in there down in the section 7 on that, and build a group of you. So when your kid has a soccer game, don't miss your kid's soccer game to show a house.
Come on.
Let someone else go show it for you. Venmo them $50. It'll be the best $50 you ever send, because you're never going to see, who knows, your kid might score 3 goals that game, right?
Mhm.
You will never forgive yourself if you miss life. You want to stay in this business for a long time and have longevity. You got to build free time into it where you have time to experience life. Don't miss the trip out on the boat on a weekend. Don't miss your cousin's wedding. Get yourself a showing tribe or people that will show houses for you. And then, of course, you can control your listing appointments, right? Because you have your appointments. But you know how it is. John and Mary got to see that house at noon. And there's going to be multiple offers. And you've got something scheduled, a barbecue with the family. Don't miss the family barbecue, right? Get together for that. Have someone else show it. And that right there is worth the price of admission. How to sell more houses, have more fun, have more free time and experience life, and last forever. And by the way, you jump in and help them when they have a showing that needs done. Don't forget, it goes both ways, right? It's reciprocal. You got to get in there. You got to show some houses for them. Any questions as we wrap up here? Do we know, by the way, our topic for next week, what we're going to be doing? Are we doing the reverse sales funnel? What are we doing next week?
I think so. Julie, do you have that?
Julie, if you're on here. Oh, yeah. And Tracy Boss Moves Wiggins says this, and the agents love making that money. Go ahead and pay the money. Some people say, oh, I just have an agreement, between us. Now, Venmo them $50 for their gas, for their time. And it's just some free cash money, right? They do 2 showings for you. We do 50 on the first showing. And if it's in the same neighborhood close, we do 35 on the second showing because they're already out and about, right? But make it worth their while to do it and give them the cash, and newer agents will jump in and help you out, and you can be completely free. Stacey and I have spent time in the Caribbean and weren't even in the country, and completely taken houses and sold them and closed them, and we were 2,500 miles away, and it worked out great. Oh yeah, Tracy Boston Wiggins says also it gives them live footage and training. Next week, next Monday is reinventing and developing your niche or niche, depending on where you're from. It's creek or crick, right? And that's next week's topic. So we're gonna have a great set of people on here to speak to. So here's how this works. Bring a friend. If you liked what you heard today, bring a friend next week. And if you're somebody who's an expert on something, we would like you to go right here on our webpage and suggest a topic on our events. You can go on here and you can suggest a topic of something that you're great at or that you'd like to share with people, or like, hey, I'd like to be a panelist. Go on there and we'll have some different panels coming up, and then we'll ask you if you're an expert on that panel and you can speak on that and you can help people. So I want to thank today our panelists that were on here giving away their knowledge for free for everybody. Don't forget to join our Facebook page and invite a friend to the Facebook page. Don't forget to follow our Instagram page. And of course, if people talk too fast on here, like the people from Ohio, hey, we're just farmers. We talk fast. That's how it is from Ohio. You can go back, and these are recorded. So you can learn, hey, how they say that thing, and listen to not just what they said, but how they said it, so you can incorporate it into your business. I want to thank everybody for jumping on. Oh, that was awesome. Who just put, there we go. John Herhold put all the links right there in the chat. By the way, you can download the chat. Everybody knows that. You can just go to the chat box on your computer, click the little 3 dots up there, and you can save the chat to your computer so that you have it. And with that, we'll stop recording. We'll say bye to everybody.